to come back to the ICJ. So in your response to that, you're talking about what you don't want parties to use this opinion as a pretext for further unilateral actions. What are we really talking about there? What is it that you're concerned that a court's decision will be used as a pretext for?
So I don't want to prescribe any from here, but just as we have criticized unilateral actions that Israel has taken, because we don't find them conducive to the goal of reaching peace, we would see actions by other parties. So you've seen us, for example, when other countries have come out and recognized a Palestinian state as a unilateral action. It's, of course, the right of any country to make that decision, but we see that ultimately as harmful to the ultimate goal of negotiating the establishment of a Palestinian state. So without prescribing any exact options that various parties may take, it's that kind of unilateral thing that outside the context of negotiations, we just ultimately don't find helpful.
Right. I think like what Said was kind of getting at, if you're basically saying we don't sort of see this court's opinion as useful. But that's not really what courts are for, right? They're not there as bodies to make useful political interventions in issues. This is an issue where you say you support international law, but in international law, the concept of international law means that there are courts that can rule on these kind of things, right? And now we've got the ICC and the ICJ have both taken actions regarding Israel in the last few months, and in both cases you've sort of pretty strongly spoken out about those courts interventions. So, how can you say that you support international law whenever the bodies of international law act, you denounce it?
So, various parties or observers to international fora or courts here can both respect a court system and disagree with rulings that courts make. You see that all the time, just thinking about domestically here at home, where an administration can respect the work that the courts do, but disagree with an individual that ruling that comes down, be concerned about the practical implications of a decision that a court makes, plan to an appeal. It is, I think, keeping in practice with the way people respond to court decisions all around the world. And it's the case here, where we can respect the role that the courts play, but also be concerned with the implications of decisions that they make. And when we have those concerns, I think it's incumbent upon us to give voice to them.
But by doing that, you're signaling to your ally Israel that it doesn't need to follow those rulings.
Yeah, so this was an advisory ruling, first of all, but I think what it signals is that when we have concerns, we're going to speak to them publicly.
A couple of topics. On also Kurmashova, we learned today that last week a Russian court rushed through her conviction in a secret trial. They sentenced her 6.5 years to prison. Any comment on that?
So we remain focused on the case of Alsu Kurmasheva. She's a dedicated journalist who is being targeted by Russian authorities for her uncompromising commitment to speaking the truth and her principled reporting. Journalism is not a crime, as you have heard us say on a number of occasions, and we continue to make very clear that she should be released.
Thank you. Moving to the second strip.
Sorry, on that, can you just explain why it is that she has not been determined to have been wrongfully detained?
I don't have any update, only in that, when we're reviewing these matters, I never give kind of readouts on the internal process while they're ongoing.
Yeah, but she has not, correct?
We have not yet made a determination in this case, but
Not
we have called on her to be released.
Well, yeah, but not because she's been wrongfully detained.
Correct.
So that suggests that you think that there might be something to the charges.
No, it does not suggest that at all. What I think it is an indication of is oftentimes there are a number of factors that we have to take into consideration. It sometimes takes longer than people would like, but we take it very seriously, and we are undergoing that process as we speak.
Sometimes it takes very, very little time.
I know, and the cases can be different and have different legal factors that apply to them, but the process is ongoing with respect to her case.
Will the last fix this issue?
Go ahead, and then I'll
follow up on